Hello everybody, welcome to the stream. Today I am looking at PNGTuber Plus actually. PNGTuber Plus is what is making this little owl friend in the corner be animated, basically. It's also what is making the hair change colour, which is a fun little addition that I decided to add because it's not in the base version of PNGTuber Plus. Unfortunately, if I just pull up the original repo here for a second, PNGTuber Plus is happily open source, which is really nice and really cool because we can customize it if we want to. Unfortunately, the other thing about something being, well, I suppose actually this isn't just true about open source software. What is true about all software, I suppose, is that much like PNGTuber Plus, if I pull this down here so you can see if my laptop will actually listen to me doing this. 1 second. Ooh, that was a fun little glitch there. Yeah, so as we can see, this has not been updated in about 2 years, which is a little unfortunate. And this is the original version of PNGTuber Plus. That's clipping on the sides of my back. Oh well, you get the idea. It's been a while, and it turns out that there are in fact more issues than just that. Not least that there's a rather unfortunate error that comes up. I don't know if it has preserved it. No, it hasn't. Yes, that's fine. I don't care about that. Please disregard that little warning message. But perhaps if let's turn that off and press save. Perhaps the error will come up here. First off, saving scene is coming up and taking a very long time, and Godot is normally a lot faster. Okay, it's actually not coming up. Oh no, it is. There we go. The text-based path at path main.scene is large on disk, 5.92 megabytes, light because it has embedded binary data. This slows down scene saving and loading, clearly, as we've just seen. And it says consider saving its binary sub-resources, blah 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 blah. Now that is a little unfortunate. Godot normally has very small scene sizes in comparison to other game engines because, well, Godot stores all of its data in text, and quite simple text, all things considered. Godot is fairly lightweight engine all round, so something's gone wrong here. And scrolling down here, like there are some embedded things, there are some nested things like this. It goes into a scene, and there are some sprites and things, but there's nothing immediately that jumped out at me when I was looking at this. So I originally forked the repo so that I could add a little shader to my hair, as you can see that I have now done. However, what was a little unfortunate is that I discovered I discovered that error, and then I started digging into the rest of the code, and I discovered that the person who had originally made this had made some interesting choices regarding some of the code. And as a dev that's been in game dev for 10 years now, which makes me feel like very old saying that, because it just my anniversary of being in game dev professionally just passed a couple of days ago actually, so I feel very old right now. But anyway, my point is that having looked at this and having found some choices, I don't want to be too judgmental because this person did put this up for free. And it does what it's meant to be doing most of the time. But there are a lot of things that I think we could do to make this a lot more maintainable and a lot more extendable. So I'm going to start by fixing the large file error, and then I'm going to go and dig into some of the other things we need to change. But let's start with just the large file size. So I actually did already fix this over so I've made a branch already and fixed and hacked in basically the little shader that cycles my hair through rainbow colors. Shout out to my sister who made the avatar for me. I love it very much. It very much feel like it represents me. But I would like it to be a little bit more animated actually. But with my little hacky version where I just added the shaders, it doesn't animate very well. So I'm going to fix it properly and I'm going to do it on stream. So, having already fixed this, I will bypass all of the dead ends that I went down for now, and I will just go, and I've opened up Rider here. Please feel free to use your code editor of choice if you're doing anything similar. And I am actually not going to open up any code, I'm going to open up the scene file. And now I'm actually working off of, so my fork was forked off of a different fork that had been updated more recently. So we've got the original PNGTuber Plus, and then somebody made a copy of that and made their changes, and now I've made a copy of the second person's changes, and now this is my copy. I have done a couple of changes here already. I have already I've updated all of the files to Godot 4.7. So if I open this just now for you, you can see that we are in 4.7 stable. I think you can see that. Maybe it's cut off on the screen. I'm not sure. Either way, we're in 4.7 stable. And I ran the tools, upgrade project files tool, just to see if anything came out of that. Nothing massively interesting did. And then I also updated my git ignore so that my IDE of choice, Rider, did not cause me too many problems, because Rider likes to include a bunch of hidden files, and I don't need those in my Git repository. So that's all that I've done though. So I'm going to look at this, and you can see we've got a lot of random data in here. This claims to be an image. It is actually not an image. So if I search by ID, if I just Control F in here, this will tell me what is referencing this specific sub-resource image. And it is in this cache textures image thing. Not enormously helpful. But then it starts talking about glyphs. Glyphs are part of a font. Glyphs are like the actual representation of a character that you see when you type with a font. So that implies to me that that very large image is actually the underlying image that renders, that is used to create the font on your screen. As you can see, we're at like line 1988 here, so I'm just going to drag up here, but I want to find the very end of all of this big long string that's just an image hard-coded into text form. And there we go. Font name, Open Sans. Now that is interesting. It was particularly interesting to me because Open Sans is actually the default Godot font. You should not have to embed a default font anywhere. That doesn't make any sense. So I'm actually just going to try and delete this. I've got to figure out where it's coming from first though. But if it's a font, it means that it's probably coming from a theme. So if I go back over now to Godot Engine, I've actually closed this down to stop my laptop from completely crying at me. It's already crying at me quite a lot, but yeah, we're going to try and minimize it. Yep, you can still see it's still crying. It's having a struggle. Wow, okay. I will wait because it's not completely crashed. It is not like many Godot crashes. This not a total loss, it's just very slow because it's struggling with this large file size. So we've got to fix this first before we can do anything else. So let me go through here. I'm just looking out for specifically controls. I'm looking out for themes and anything that might be embedded in here. Nothing so far, so let's keep going. Here, I'm also looking for like the reset button because that means something has been set. Aha, one change to the theme. This is a theme that has been created in this slot specifically to only work with here with this theme, with this button, sorry. So this means that this theme is not reused anywhere. This theme doesn't have a default font set in here, which is interesting. But it does have a font file set here, which is Open Sans as a font file. But it's not referencing some file that we have in our file system window over here in our resource folder. It is, again, another embedded file. So we may actually have multiple copies in our main scene file over here. We may have multiple copies of open sans embedded into this file, so embedded into the scene file. So no wonder this is such a big file. No wonder this is so slow. Again, it's not responding. Wait, okay. So, seeing as this says it is size 16, and seeing as I think that's the only thing. Yes, these are all just invisible. What even is this? Mic button. Okay, well, mic button doesn't have any text on it, so we don't need to have all of these text-related things. So I'm just going to reset that and hit save. And that will have improved things at least. It was originally setting 5.92 megabytes, so let's see where it is when we get there. It's still unfortunately saying that, so we must be missing something somewhere. Let's check here in the settings button. And again, we've got a theme here, but this settings button again does not have any text. Let me just check there's nothing else here. Nothing here that is interesting to me. This is all just very plain and boring and invisible, basically. And as you can see, the mic button didn't change at all. So I'm pretty sure we're safe to just do that. And hit save again. Alright, still complaining, so let's find, I'm gonna guess it's on all of the buttons, that's my best guess. So, yep, here we go. Again, invisible text, invisible icon. Confusing that is invisible icon. I see. That is also an interesting choice. We have controls used only in the context of sprite, like 2D nodes. This may be something that we tackle later, actually. So when I build things, I like to have my UI layers, unless they are within the world, like maybe like a label on like a house that's in the game or something like that. I usually prefer my UI to be stored completely separately and have their own separate layer on top. And I think that would make sense for this, because when you're using PNGTuber Plus, I won't try and use it right now because I think my laptop might explode. Because it's really struggling with this large file size. I think that all this UI just lays over the top of everything else that's happening that's in the 2D world. And controls and 2D stuff in Godot is a bit confusing because they are kind of overlapping to a degree, because they are both canvas items. But I think it does not really make sense to be used like this, especially because this button here does not have an icon or anything. It's just completely blank, which means that this, like, we could just be using this fancy icon, which I assume, yeah, okay, so we're using this pencil part of this texture, I assume. And we could just have that as the icon for the button instead. So, okay, well, again, we're going to revisit that. We've got to fix the large file problem first. So, saving that. Let's keep going if it continues to be slow, which it does appear to be doing. When we get there. Okay. How are we doing here? Do you have anything interesting? You do not. You don't have a theme set. I'm looking just down here under theme, under control on theme. Volume study. You do have a theme set, and what do you have? You have some style boxes, a grabber, content. You know what? That one can stay. But what I will do is, instead of embedding this in here, I am going to save as, and I'm going to make a new folder, because I mean, I don't really like how this folder is organized as it is. Okay, thank you, yes. And Godot has crashed. Ay. Okay, give me a second. We'll have to wait for it to start up again. Wow, yeah, it's really struggling with this file, huh? Okay. Can I do a save as now? Great. I am just going to... don't do it, Godot! Just going to call this volume slider theme. I will probably not leave these like this. And that's using the same theme. We love to see it. We love reusing the same assets where it makes sense. But I'm going to leave that there because the volume slider, sensitive slider, that's now sorted, and I must make sure that I focus on the relevant things, namely this terrible file size issue. Again, this looks very similar. I'm just going to reset that. Probably the same here. We don't need a Twitter button in our new version, but for now I'm going to leave it as is because I'm currently just trying to get it to the same state as it was. Or rather, I'm just trying to improve the existing functionality, I suppose. I don't want to leave it in the same state as it was because then it will be upset with me. This, I believe, was added by the second person who forked, which, as you can see, so this Kairos is the original person, and Rugendev, forgive me if I'm mispronouncing either of your names, is the person who forked from Kairos, and I forked from Rugendev. Okay, so label, do we have an override here? No. Label 2? Also no. Version number? Also no. Grand. Okay, let's just, whoops, that's not what I wanted to do. Have a look at the add button. There we go, resetting that. So let's just double check that I'm not actually changing anything by accident. Okay, what's the add button? The add button's up here. Okay, so if I reset the theme of the add button, still looks fine to me. Okay. If I go to the link button, if it will let me. I'll reset that as well. Fantastic. Saving again. I compulsively save. I have been burned too many times. So forgive this because it is very slow. Okay, I'm actually just going to assume that if I grab this, this, and this, and also this, and hit reset, do the same thing, fantastic, and one more save, and then there will be one more after this, I believe. Got this info button here. Oh my goodness, come on. What is this? Okay, so I'm going to turn this off now, this edit controls thing. Grand. And this info button, where is this? So, oh, okay, they're down there. Alright. Resetting that. Looks good to me. And then let's just check over here. We've got this type thing. What does that say? No theme overrides there. No theme overrides there. And then that's it. Great. So if I just save that, see what happens. Oh, there we go. Good. Okay, so it still took a little bit to save, but it was saving over quite a large file, but there was no large file warning here. So let's open up main.tc now and see what's happening. Ah, and isn't that much nicer? Easily scroll throughable. Nice and short. No giant chunks of random text. Great. Okay. So first thing we're going to do is I'm actually going to commit these changes. They're moving large font files from base. Removing large edit font files from main scene. There we go. So I'm going to commit that. Great. Okay. So goal 1 down. Woohoo! Next thing. Where to begin? Okay, so I think that maybe we should look at a little bit of the code, because I think if I start getting stuck into tweaking and fixing layouts and stuff, I might end up just sort of getting a bit lost in that instead of doing things in a bit of a more of a logical way. And more than that, I might start breaking things, because if I open up one of the script files here, let's not actually open it in here, let's open it in Rider. That's why I've got Rider open. Let's open, I don't know, let's start with main. If you see here, there's a lot of things here referenced by node path. And this is something that was very common in Godot. I think it still is common in Godot development. As somebody who did not start in Godot, but somebody who's been working in Godot for over a year now, I do not think that node paths are a particularly great way of doing things. In fact, I think it is actively damaging in almost all cases. Because when you have something like this, you can't edit the code separately, and you can't edit the scene separate to the code. Which means that these references, these direct specific references that talk about where the paths go, like plotting the exact path you have to go, if you move things around, things immediately break. Or at least they have the potential to. And I often find that when things like this break, you don't know that they've broken until it is too late. And you are well past the point at which they have broken. So I believe the new way of doing things that is recommended in Godot, and the way that I do things, and the way that I think is probably best for future maintainability and also for readability, is instead of having onReadies, to have export. So it's very similar on that origin, and I don't know what origin is right now, so give me a second. So I'm just actually going to comment that back out again. Let's go and have a look. So if I open up, click on main, that is not, oh, it is where the main.gd is. Yeah, all the exports. That's interesting. See if I save, see if that does anything. Oh, there are no exports at all, actually. Duh. Okay, I know what I'm doing wrong. So I just need to look at origin motion / origin. Where is origin motion? There it is. So origin is just a node 2D. That's easy enough. So I'm going to, so with exports you have to declare the type. So I'm just going to do this. And then if I actually comment this one out, and you'll see, one of Godot's decided to cooperate with me. If I click on main, we have origin, hooray, and now we can just grab origin motion / origin and just drag it in there. Did that work? That did not work, come on. Okay, well it's not playing ball, but fortunately we can click on assign and then we will get a window. Once my laptop is deciding that I am allowed to, there we go. And I will click on origin now. Wait a second, please. Goodness gracious me. Okay. Hurrah. Origin. So I am now just going to go through. For those of you who are joining the stream, forgive me, this is going to be perhaps a little bit tedious. For those of you who are maybe watching the VOD, if I can be bothered, I will edit this out. If not, feel free to just skip forward a few minutes until I finished editing all of these and replacing them with exports instead. Control panel is 2D and no 2D. Okay, it's not wanting to cooperate because I've got this, so let me just do just for now. There we go. Okay. So now I actually want to go through and assign the specific types. So control panel is actually a node 2D. Edit controls, I believe there's also a node 2D, but let me just double check that. Yup. Oh, in that case I can actually just assign them, so let's do that now. Oops, not that. Where is the camera? That's a good question. Wow, this is very slow. Pretty sure this is just my laptop rather than Godot itself now. It should not be this painful without those other things in. No, oh my god, okay. Where is sprite view? It's a great question, I don't actually know. Sprite viewer is under edit control / sprite viewer. Okay, so I'm actually going to do it this way. Or I'm going to try. Hi. Okay. I believe the arrows are also in here. Maybe I am wrong because they do appear to be there. Maybe if I click on them that will work. Viewer arrows, okay. I really actually don't like these viewer arrows. From a usability point of view, not from a dev point of view. I've been caught out by them a few times. Sprite list, where is sprite list? Sprite list is under also edit controls, okay. Okay, I've got a bunch of dialogues down here. These should be pretty straightforward. At least these variable names do match up with the names of the objects, which, I mean, I don't really think we should have to do that, but that's okay. It does make my life easier for this, at least. Aha, but here is where I need to change the types. This is where, that's why it's confused. Let me close this, it'll let me. Now, the other benefit to having things assigned in exports like this is that, first of all, they're typed in the code, which means that you can take advantage of everything autocomplete related. But also, you can write code and have somebody else fit it out later. In this case, it's only going to be me. But it's significantly easier when you're coding with, say, a UI artist, to be able to fill out your code and sort of leave things as a placeholder and let somebody else go through and hook everything up without having to look at the code and know where every single thing has to be and what it all has to be called. So let me just go back and finish these last ones. I'm going to look at the lines. What was lines called? Lines was just called lines. Well, okay. There it is, right at the top. Hey, come on. Okay, settings menu. Oh, that should be obvious. Am I seeing it though? I am not. Such is what happens as soon as anybody looks at your screen when you're programming. You will immediately look like a complete numpty. It's under control panel. Okay, so I'm not completely useless. It actually was not just straight up there on the list this time. Let's find push updates. There we are. And shadow. I don't know what shadow spite is for, but never mind. Okay, so we've done that now. So I'm also going to commit my changes. I'm being quite localized with my commits here. I'm actually, now that I've got all the references, just going to delete these. Just have everything tidy before I commit. These are quite small commits, but it is a good habit to get into. I would not normally recommend doing this on the main branch. Also, normally my branch would be called main, but because this is a fork, I did not get to choose what my main branch was called. So forgive the naming if there's something that bothers you. I know it doesn't bother everybody, but I don't love it. Okay, so now it's all nice and tidy. Removing explicit node path references and replacing with exports in mode scene. Oops, there we go. Fantastic. You can see that here I did leave one on already. That's because this involves a separate individual scene, and this scene is not something I necessarily want to mess with right now because it's sort of its own project, really, because I can't easily add a type to this because sprite object, though it does have a script, the script is not usable as a type in GDScript because it doesn't have a class name on it. And I don't want to get too far into that because sprite object is its own thing. So instead, I mean, I know this is an open source project, but that is a little bit unprofessional, so I'm just going to scroll back up there and see if I can figure out what on earth that's connected to, if anything. It does not appear to be connected to anything in the editor, so forgive me for having this on the screen, but I do need to just double check whether this is being used anywhere else. Find usages. Nothing found. Great. Get rid of that then. Okay. Interestingly, background input capture. This is not a very helpful comment. If you're going to say something is important, at least tell me why it's important. Anyway, interestingly, background input capture is not actually working on Linux, which is the platform that I'm currently on. I suspect it's something to do with how Linux does and does not allow certain programs to run. So I'm not going to try and fix the background input capture now. I think this is going to be something that happens further down the line. Oh, that's fun. Okay, so we have some more random references here that are not references to anything that we've got up here. All right then, I guess let's move these out. That's our next task. Let's go with slider. Is that what it's called? Is that the class name? Yes, it is. That's for consistency. Use camel case because that's what everything else is using up here. And let's say sensitive slider as well. Okay, have we got anything else? I'm just looking for this green. Yes. What is that? Global.fail equals $failed. That is a mystery to me. What is $failed? Okay, so that is a failed message. So I think it's let's rename this to failed to add sprite message. Now you can see this would not work. So let's go get the it was a node 2D, wasn't it? Go and oh, that's annoying. That's blocking that. All right, that's okay then. Let's grab the volume slider. Whoops. And sensitive slider. Did that work or did it not work? It did not work, for goodness sake. There we go. Save again. before I commit this, I'm going to go just have a quick scroll so you see if I can see anything else that's being referenced directly like that. Oh, do we have some? This one's actually being referenced multiple times. So you see, when you reference something like this multiple times, each time this happens, unless Godot is a lot smarter than I think it is, Godot is going to go and find this in the scene tree every single time for here, here, and here. Whereas, if we need it multiple times, and that's just when these lines of code run, but these lines of code can run multiple times, because that change zoom especially can run multiple times in a frame perhaps. So I'm just, in fact, yes. We're setting to modulate A quite a lot, actually. I'm not going to get distracted by that. That is small fry in the grand scheme of things. There are worse things and more confusing things and less maintainable things. So for now, gotta focus. Bane of my life is having to stay focused when I see something like this, I think. Let's just go directly to zoom label, and I assume it's going to be called label. I hope it is. If not, I guess we'll find out. So it's under control panel and then zoom label. It is label. Hallelujah. Okay, save this, and then I can go back and find these were referenced. Just change that to zoom label. Round, okay. Save dialogue and load dialogue here, even though we have references to save dialogue and load dialogue. That's interesting. Glad I can fix that, and this as well. Origin motion, we have already got that. Anything else? Don't know if I love this. Anyway, replace dialogue. And replace dialogue. Interesting. We want edit control screen cover collision shape 2D dot what? Okay. This. What is this? What does it do? Oh, I forgot to, this should be turned off. And then this. This is a big box. I assume it does something. Maybe it's something to do with being clicked on. I'm going to call it at least screen cover collision shape 2D. It's going to yell at me because it doesn't know what it is, but that's okay because I haven't specified it up here yet. All the way back up to the top. Okay. Oh, pass error, what have I done? Origin motion is not declared, is it not? Or was it origin motion slash origin? It was, okay. That's okay, I can add up here, export our origin motion. There we go. And the thing about this is that we get these issues and problems at compile time before we're in the middle of the runtime game, which means we have much more of a chance of having this error come up and having us catch it while we still remember what we were doing and while we still have not changed too much. So that is one of the many reasons why I much prefer the way that exports do it than having explicit node paths. Go back to screen. Go you turned off, yeah, and so you in general. Thank you. Okay. I'm just turning them back off because I don't know why they were turned on. Why they were turned off to begin with in the original scene, and I don't want to break anything because I know that I've definitely done that in my own like home projects. Sometimes I've just sort of left things in places turned on and or off, regardless of whether that's good practice or not. So for now, I want to be able to maybe, hopefully, run the project and see some stuff come up. Let me just go through. Oh, and we have some more. Alright. So, arrows and arrows too, I don't love. Oh, we've got more of them, okay. Well, forgive me, this is going to be a little bit tedious. What is mic input? Mic input select. It's called, it's just no TV. Alright. Oh, what have I done there? Oh, it's because it was still compiling from here. Okay. Okay. Interesting. Move sprite viewer editor thing around. What is the difference between edit controls, movement menu up, and otherwise? I wish these were all stored in one place a bit more conveniently than this. This is fine, this is something I can do later. I see. But they only ever move the sprite edit. Global.sprite edit, whatever that is. Fascinating. Okay, this is something that I don't actually think I can leave here. I do like this. I like this early exit. I like if we don't have sprite edit turned on, then you just set both of them to false and you early exit this whole function. I like that, that's fine. I don't love, look, this is okay, again, it's early exit. This I do not like at all. Because arrows 2 and arrows look way too similar. And Okay, well, first of all, let me do the exports like I've been talking about. Can't type. Let me actually go and see what is arrows and what is arrows 2. Arrows is down, arrows 2 is up. Okay. Is it sprite 2D? Is that what we're looking at? Yes. It's a little unintuitive, but I think I would have expected arrows down to be 2, but never mind, never mind. Okay, so we're going to go down here. Let's have a look at this. So again, arrows is down. Okay. And then this is arrows up. Whoa. Did not mean to type like that. Arrows up. Arrows up. Arrows up. And arrows up. Okay. So this, we could leave this like this. Oh, except for the fact that we would have to add the references in here. So let me do that before I forget, because otherwise that will be some embarrassing testing later. Arrows down. Oh no, there's arrows up. Wrong one. Wrong one. And arrows up. Okay. Whoa, no, stop. I had the right thing. Oh my goodness, this is astonishingly slow. I think my laptop doesn't really love running OBS at the same time. Wait, thank you. Okay. Wrong thing I have to click on now. Okay, so we're going to go over here. I'm going to say, so I could have just left this like this. However, I didn't love this. Why is this complaining at me? Doesn't matter. If you've got if something true, else something false, you can very easily simplify this and make your code a lot more readable just by doing this. It does the exact same thing as we had before. So before we had if global sprite edit position y is less than 16, then turn arrows up on, otherwise turn arrows up off. And now we have arrows up is visible. The visible value is the same as whether global sprite edit dot position dot y is less than 16. So it's the exact same thing. Oops, hit my mic, my bad. So I'm going to do the same thing over here. I don't really fully follow this magical number of 16 and 2. That's a bit of a mystery to me. I don't know why those numbers are there, but that's another issue, I suppose. Okay, and I'm actually going to leave them right next to each other because they're quite similar lines of code, and this is just a bit nicer to read. I'm going to do that as well. There we go. Great. And let's get rid of this extra line. That's a lot tidier, in my opinion. Okay. Great, okay, so that's all fine. So now we've only got these two left. Oh, well, I suppose, yeah, no, they are just the two. Move menu up and move menu down. What are you, please? Edit controls. These are area 2Ds, so for once we have a new thing that isn't just a sprite, that isn't just a node 2D. That's exciting. All the way up. Okay. am actually going to rename this to area move. Same here. Okay. Back to Godot, and same again. If Godot will let me. Or will we have the exact same problems again? Oh my goodness. Okay. Brand. Alright. So what did I do this time? I removed node path references in main.gd from middle of functions, simplified some conditional expressions. This will allow me to keep track of something if I need to go back and look at what I'm doing. Having a reasonably descriptive but not too verbose commit message will make that a lot easier for me. It's something that I have to do quite frequently. See, these hard-coded numbers in the middle of code makes things real tricky to figure out. I don't know why this number is here. I don't know why this number is here. But this is going to be something that we'll have to tackle later on, because for now I think I'm actually going to wrap up because my throat is starting to get really dry. And yes, I think we've done quite a lot here, but I'm gonna call it for now. I'm gonna probably come back. I think I'm due for streaming again on Sunday, and we're going to keep looking at this. I think I will probably continue looking at this class specifically. Maybe we will in fact even look at this comment, unnamed, but this is the microphone menu button. You can change the names though, you're allowed. And in fact that is what we are going to do. But yes, looking forward to cleaning this up, looking forward to having something a little bit more functional, and then I will be able to use it in my own stream. So if you're interested in following along, please join me on Sunday, or at least if you're watching the VOD, then I will be streaming Tuesday evenings and Sunday probably late afternoons, British UK time, I suppose. I was going to say British summer time, but it's not always going to be summer. So my stream schedule should be up. Either way, I will be uploading VODs of this refactor as I go, I hope. So yeah, I will see you in the next one. Thanks for joining, everybody. I hope this was interesting. Hope you learned something. Please ask any questions in the comments. Leave a like if you found anything useful here, and let me know what you'd like to see next time. Thank you very much.